I need a motion, a second to reconvene.
Motion.
Session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm asking that everyone stand and say the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence, please.
For all those who have served and continue to serve.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mary Jane, roll call.
Mr. Middleman, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction.
Present.
Ms. Nancy, Assistant Superintendent for Special Ed.
Present.
Mr. Colby-Hefar, Interim Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Personnel.
Present.
Mr. Light, Interim Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations.
Present.
Dr. Adams, Superintendent of Schools.
Present.
Ms. August, Board President.
Present.
Ms. Panko, Board Vice President.
Present.
Mr. Warshaw is not available tonight. Ms. Napolitano, Board Trustee.
Present.
Ms. Kennedy, Board Trustee.
Present.
Ms. Lisa
Present.
Hutchinson, Council.
Present.
And myself, Mary Jo, Buddy, District Clerk.
Is the video on?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes of September 24th, 2019.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need approval for the minutes of the September 25th, 2019 special meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Kenny, where are you?
Where'd he go?
He actually got called the fire department, there's a fire, so he left.
Okay.
Okay, yep, all right, so, Lindy, would you like to talk about some of the things that are happening on Friday? Actually, we have Mr. Costa here. Mr. Costa, would you like to talk about Friday? Come up, Mr. Costa.
You can substitute for Mr. Getty.
You kind of look like him.
There you go. I'll say hi. So on Friday morning, we have, is our homecoming, obviously. We're gonna start out with the truncated schedule. So around, I think it's, I don't have the calendar on me right now, the schedule.
I think it's around 12.
Around 12 is the, senior, no, 10:30, I think, or 10:40 is the senior portrait.
Oh.
The class picture. And then at 12, we dismiss to the pep rally. All the clubs and activities and the teams, they're allowed, of course, beforehand. At dismissal, after the pep rally, we're gonna leave right from the football field, provided the weather's good. Also gonna have it, we're gonna dismiss right from the football field to the buses, those that are leaving. Those that are staying with the floats, are gonna stay for the parade and start staging or have practice. We're gonna stay from 2 to 4, and at 4:30 is gonna be the parade kickoff. So between 4:30 and 5 is roughly the parade, and then football game starts at 6. At the football game, they're going to have fireworks, a short fireworks display, not display, they're just kind of a few poppers going off during the national anthem. At certain key points for the national anthem, they're gonna watch a couple fireworks, then we have a football game.
What time is that?
Football game starts at 6. And then around 9 o'clock should be a full firework display.
And, oh, wait, and then when's the full?
9 o'clock. About 9 o'clock should be a full firework display.
Okay. And then, for the judging of the floats, because I know the Board of Ed
Yes.
usually is
Yep.
part of that. What time is that?
Figure out 5 o'clock, around the time.
Okay.
Did you get your
The email said, we try to be there at 3:30, but so that we can beat the traffic.
I get there early.
Yeah.
This is the one that.
This will be the first year I'm gonna miss it. I have, another commitment.
Oh, really?
I can't get out of here.
I'll be in New Jersey. I'll be there.
I'm driving Jackie.
I'm really upset that I'm gonna miss it, because I really love doing the float thing.
I'll
Driving
be
Miss
fine.
Daisy.
The summer floats this year are really good.
I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
They're doing a really nice job.
Yeah,
They
I know.
always do.
Take
The floats always look really nice.
Yeah.
Right, that's it.
Thank you very much. Oh, say Halloween, do you know the dates for that? I know that's coming up.
26th.
Ms. Kelly?
October 26th from 12 to 2, bring a can of food or some food item to donate, and I believe it's $5 per child.
Is there a flyer for that?
There, it was, I saw something circulating around online.
Isn't it only?
If you see something, you send it to us?
Elementary, yeah, I
It's
definitely
what is it,
will.
K to
I
five?
wanna
K to
post it as well.
5, yes. But I mean,
Anybody
I doubt
has
they're
it?
gonna turn away a kid who's in 6th grade, you know, they're really sweet about it, and they decorate the doors, it's beautifully done, and they work really hard at it,
Yeah.
so. And it's a
It's a
great
great
thing
thing.
to,
I don't know,
Yeah, my kids
community
love
with the food drive as well.
Then tomorrow night is the senior trip for parents to come down.
That's what's running around that with the senior class.
Okay, I can't think of anything offhand.
Newsday Festival, sir.
Thursday.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, the Newsday Marching Band Festival is Thursday night.
And
We'll
Mitchell
go
Field.
on somewhere around 8:30 usually, but one of the last 3 days we perform.
If you're going dressed for it, it's always cool.
So it's hot or cold, there's no way.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to policy. Okay, we have the,
Oh, wait. There was a question on the policy, right? That's the one thing.
okay, are we, approval of first, reading of the revised policy
Wait a second, let me find the policy here.
2341.1.
Approval. Hold on. There was one change that I don't remember putting in.
Oh, wait, I
Hold
need
on.
this because
I gotta
this is
just-
going off. Do you know where it is?
Well, can you explain the policy to us?
Did you ask for a motion second first, for discussion?
I'm sorry, can I have a motion? I didn't know, okay, motion.
Motion.
Second?
And there'll be a second, and then we have a discussion.
Okay, the policy is the consent agenda. The first policy, 2341.1, moving it into either a single motion or several categorical motions. So we did talk about that, and that was great, and Mary Jane is gonna put them in now, like, so if we have 16 contracts for building and ground.
Wait, you skipped. We're talking about first approval.
Yeah, 2341.1.
Oh,
So, like if there's 16 things on the consent agenda that have to do with buildings and grounds contracts, she'll put them all in buildings and grounds contracts. So we could do it all as categories instead of pulling out item A and then item L and, you know, all over the place. So then you just pull out just from that category and accept the rest of them. So that's what you're gonna do on that one. That's the only change that we had on that one. The other one,
2341?
2341.1.
And you
Yeah,
can
let's
see,
talk about that
we've
one.
already done that. Number 19 are 2 special education contracts. We've already begun putting them together when they're like this.
Right, you put them together, but now they're not, but now they're gonna be in categories, special education contract, and then there'll be 4 or 5 of them, however many there are on the consent agenda.
So
Right, is that what you said that,
there's no way to do that in
There's no way to
this
do that
program.
on board docs as far as like doing, if you're doing consent
oh,
under different headings.
oh,
So
you
we
said you
just
were gonna look
kind of-
into it, right?
Yes, so we
Alright, so now you're just gonna put them
group them
together.
together,
Okay, so like 16 through 20 will be special education contracts,
right.
for next time, okay, I gotcha.
so maybe you can highlight them.
Wait.
We've already begun that as well.
Yeah.
So you see that the spreadsheet
Yes.
that I send you guys is done by the different assistant superintendents and the contracts and things that they put on. So we actually began doing that in September.
Right. But we just wanted to make it
We
part of
want
the
to put it in
policy.
the policy.
So, Lee, what was your,
Is this the one that I saw that the board president and vice president have to approve it? Is that this one or the next
no,
one?
that's the next one.
Okay, because that's the one I want to discuss.
Okay, you can discuss that, let me go over that one now then. 2342.
Okay, wait, so before we go on, we don't have any,
Wait.
does this, nobody has any issues
Wait.
with the changes made?
Approve
For the first one.
First reading with the revision.
Is that okay for the first one, Lee? Jackie?
I'm just like confused what you guys are.
2340, here, right here.
Individual items on the consent agenda will not be discussed prior to action.
No, we're not up to that one yet, though, Lee.
That's the first one. That's the,
20,
No, 2341.1.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
that's what we're on.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
2341,
Point 1 is what you're on.
Individual items on consent agenda will not be
we
discussed
discussed prior to action. We wrote, oh, number 5, the board president or designee puts the items to a vote. That's been on there. And I mean, none of this has
I'm
been,
talking
we
now.
only took out that the consent agenda will be prepared by the superintendent of schools in consultation with the president and or the vice president of the board.
That's not in there.
Right, we took it out.
Okay, so,
Because it's because it doesn't belong in that one.
Okay.
Because that's just categorical items.
Okay, so.
So then, now
I'm
it's the
talking
next
about
one that you wanna talk about, because then we added it into this one.
Okay, so are we fine with this one?
Yes,
I am.
I am.
Lee?
I'm not 100% convinced, because I totally don't, you can't discuss an agenda item before the meeting? Is that what she's saying?
Well, you're not supposed to discuss, it's on there anyway. That was always on there.
Right.
You can't discuss items not in public. If it's on a consent agenda, you gotta discuss it in public. So why would you discuss
Correct,
it
but
before
if
the
you
meeting?
have questions about it, you can still write to the administration.
Oh, sure, but you can't,
Okay,
but
that's
you
all I
should
need to
actually
know.
ask those questions in public as well.
Well, you.
But now we don't have to, because Linda's actually putting those questions on board docs,
When, yes.
like the ones I sent today.
I can put those on board docs, we didn't put those on today though,
Okay,
but I
Yes.
can take them and we can all,
But
otherwise I have to ask them in public,
that's fine, I can upload
Right.
all those.
So it makes more sense to ask them in
in an email, so they have the
email, so they
answers.
have the answers
Yes.
here for the public.
But the public has no idea what questions we asked unless we put it out there. So Linda now puts it on board docs.
Even if she didn't put it on board docs, she could say, this question was asked, here's the answer, blah, 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 blah,
Okay.
blah, blah.
That's fine, we actually created a part of board docs that has, questions that were asked by the board members.
Right.
So they
It-
can
it
see
is
the answers
easier
in public.
That way,
Okay.
and it makes the meetings,
That can bring this.
that people can see it before the meeting,
Okay.
except for today's. That'll be after the
Yeah,
meeting.
I usually don't do this.
That's okay.
Right after.
All right, can we, are you okay with that one now?
Yeah.
Okay. So now can we go to 2342?
So do I have a 4-0 vote for that first reading for that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I didn't hear what Lee said, so.
I can't.
The next one, 2342, we added that the agenda and preparation for the meetings is still the responsibility of the superintendent of schools with the approval of the board president. We added in the vice president and/or other designee, so that there's always 2 board members on the agenda meeting. In the event that the board, this is the part that I don't remember saying, in the event that board participation is not available, the superintendent has discretion to finalize the agenda. I don't see how with 5 members, you're not gonna have 2 of us do.
That was something we really spoke about, that if there was no participation that was available, we had to.
Right, but they
put
don't
the
have to
agenda
come in,
line.
I want this should, I mean, you can do it through a phone call, the agenda, they don't have to come down to your office to sit there. You could do this on a phone call, right, 'cause you're always gonna get 2 board members on a phone call.
Okay,
I'm
this
gonna
is
do-
something
I'm
we're
gonna-
very specific
I'm
about.
gonna disagree with this. It has always been, the board president who sets the agenda. If the board president cannot make that meeting, the vice president will go.
According to the policy, it was the superintendent that sets the meeting, so I don't know what you're talking
With the
about.
board president, it was always with the board
With
president.
the approval of the board president.
Correct, and it still should say that way. We can't have 2 people saying it's okay, you need the board president to approve. That's why she's board president. If she's out, then a vice president or designee,
Okay, well, the policy,
Then go.
when we talked about this, we said that there should be 2 people on there.
2 people can go, but the board president sets the meeting.
Well, we wanted 2, that's the policy committee, so you could vote yes or no.
I think we discussed that before.
We did,
And
and
I'm
you
for
were,
it.
right.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
okay,
gonna say no,
I'm
because
okay
you
with
could
there always
not
being
have,
2 people.
you could have a board meeting without an agenda this way.
Yeah, but I think we said that because we like the idea of checks and balances.
Yeah.
One
I
has-
like the idea that.
was the.
So
that
what
was
you're
the-
saying is the
that's
board
what you want
president
to
is
say.
telling the truth.
No, I'm not
No, we're
saying
not
that.
saying that at all.
Well, I'm
You
not,
are.
no, I'm not.
We elect
What
the
I'm
president.
saying is you elect the president, but there's nothing wrong with having 2 people.
Right.
Okay,
2
I'd like to table
ideas.
this to get legal counsel.
I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with having 2 people
I'd
there.
like to
Legal
table this.
counsel for what?
What goes
That we
on?
can't have 2 people?
No.
So
You can
typically,
have 2 people at the meeting.
I haven't done the research on this, but usually I have to look at Robert's rules because you also are guided by Robert's rules of order for preparation of the agenda and running the meeting. So we can look at that to see, I don't know if there's gonna be a bright line rule that it can't be 2 people, or that it has to be the board president, or if there's some
There's
rule
not,
that.
it's not in Robert's rules, but okay, you wanna do that part, that's fine. But just so we can go on, because that's the part that you wanna look up. But I know Mark and I talked about this, Mylan and Jackie, and all of us discussed it. So I'm okay with that part, but you have to check that.
When it goes out.
I think that was the night that you left. The Board of Education agenda will provide electronically. We also talked about each Friday at noon, because Otherwise, we have to look at the emails 1,500 times. So we wanted it done on a specific time so that we can have it all together. And then, you know, not on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock before the meeting, you add something on there.
What happens if something happens on Monday that needs our attention to vote?
Then you need a board consensus, and that's a phone call. That's why we added that in. And that was,
I was with that,
yes.
100%.
Right.
I just,
All
I don't have
these
a
changes
problem.
were the ones that we all
Yeah, we
discussed. And then the public agenda used to be on the website the day of. So now we put it so that the public can get it the day before. Otherwise, before that, they had the noon of the meeting, which is not always possible for people to check when they want to come to a meeting and they want to be prepared. So now it's the day before, so that the public has time to review what's on the agenda.
Okay, so going back to the initial concern, I think what Lee's probably alluding to. So say, for example, there is something that I wanted to put on the agenda.
You put it on.
I put it on.
And so, say it's me, you, and Linda in the agenda meeting, but Jackie wrote in an email, add this for discussion. That still goes on.
Of course.
Nobody's changing that, it's just two people sitting in the room. So we know it's on the agenda. So if you get sick tomorrow,
I think
somebody else
that's
can
been
still
the
go
issue
and
though.
and
Well,
talk
we've
about it.
asked for stuff to be put on the agenda, and then it doesn't get put on the agenda, or at least I've asked for things to get put on the agenda.
It happens.
It happens, and I think that needs to be
So it'll be a
addressed.
double check, that's all
So
it is.
then, so the things that have to go on the agenda, then I think from this point forward, or we should really been practicing this.
But I still
There's
question.
two conversations.
Can I get an answer?
We should just wait.
No.
So, if something is to be added to the agenda, then we should really have it all sent to Mary Jane, and it's Mary Jane's responsibility to then make sure it's on the, meeting of the, president, vice president, superintendent, when they're preparing the agenda.
Which is normally what happens now, we've all been going through Mary
Yeah, but
Jane.
if Jackie's saying there's something she wanted to see, I mean, there's a lot of emails that get floated,
Yes,
so you have to keep track of, you know, what the board
If
members
somebody-
want to see on the agenda.
which I think when we send it to Mary Jane, it's there.
Okay.
When it's not sent to Mary Jane, and it's just,
Well, then it's up to the board to make sure that.
right, so we have to make sure that we send it to Mary Jane. So, so we're still holding that for legal so that Lee can get her answer.
And
Okay,
then
so we're
so,
tabling this
We don't
one.
have to table
so
it.
it will be on for the next, so the only question we were discussing was, for the next meeting, it'll be on for a first reading again.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, that's it on that one.
okay. And there's regulation FYI, what is that?
What? Oh, I don't even know what
These are
that.
regulations, the policy is created by the policy committee, the regulations are created by administration to make sure that we regulate the policies correctly. So this is just edification, there's no voting that's necessary, it's just for you folks to have, once you create the policy, we create the regulation in order to operationalize it.
Okay, so then can you just go into little detail about the harassment, hazing, and bullying?
So all four of these policies were created by committee that Ms. Santo puts together once
Not
a
the,
year.
not the board policy, we have nothing to do with that.
No, this is a regulation, so they are all created by Ms. Santo and the committee.
So is there anything different
I
here?
saw just some word changes.
Just some small word changes, nothing large. And that policy will probably need to be updated with the new updated legal that just came out of Governor Cuomo.
Any questions on the regulations? Again, it's just for your information. Okay, any other questions before we move on to policy? Lee?
No, I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to Winter Wonderland. I believe I saw a red card of John Tedeschi. Would you like to come up and present?
And we do have the, John, just so you know, we do have the printout here. You have the printout?
I have one on here.
You have one, wait, do you have one?
I saw it.
You wanna see it?
It's on,
I've already
I
seen
have a
it, so you.
couple
Oh, I've read
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I've already seen it, so I'm fine.
Is anybody need a copy?
Nope, I've already seen it, I already read through it, I think
Is
it's
this
great.
it? Isn't this it?
No, I had this.
Is this what I'm?
Well, then can I have it back?
Is this it?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm good.
Do you need
I'll
it?
take one.
I don't need it.
I don't really need it.
Okay,
Hey,
there we
one
go.
more, anybody want it?
All right, we got it.
I can't open this. I don't have to open this.
So we're also up here with Kim Trink, who's the high school PTA state president, Ray Carter, you also know too. So I think most of you already know that we ran Winter Wonderland at WMS. And after a lot of discussion, we decided, I think for the best interest of everybody involved, that we were going to move it up to the high school. So we're before the board now, just seeking your approval. And if there are any questions, I don't know if you want me to do a full presentation on this or not.
Yeah, I don't.
So-
I'm okay with it.
I attended
I
the
think
first
we
one,
should, yeah,
and I loved it, I thought it was great.
I like that.
I'm glad you guys are moving it, because I thought it would be a mess, you know, especially with the parking situation, the two-way traffic. I thought it was not a very safe condition for, especially if you have some teenagers that want to attend. I like the idea that you guys are moving it to the high school, because obviously you have more protection as far as the parking, and you don't have any of
And then
that.
including the north side.
So are we going to do the same format? It's just on a little bit of a bigger scope?
Yes, basically following the same exact format. As you can see from here, it's all out, the little bullets and everything. So you'll see everything that's involved in it. Safety was probably the biggest concern that we had. The first year was, we were kind of blown away. We didn't know what to expect. It definitely exceeded our expectations. And I think the next year, somehow the traffic got a little bit worse. And even though we had more 5th Precinct police there, we had crossing guards and things like that, it just seemed like the traffic was a lot worse. Families running across the streets, so it was very, very unsafe. The building, as far as capacity, we were kind of, even though we had spread it out a lot better the
Okay,
second
listen.
year.
At the end of the day, it was a terrific event, you should be
Yes.
proud of yourself.
We're
You did
all
a
looking
great
forward to this,
job.
my kids can't wait.
Good.
Now you wanna do it at the high school, it's
Yes.
going to be bigger and better and more
Yes.
wonderful and more attendance.
That's the idea.
I think we're all in
It's
agreement.
a nice thing that you guys
That's a
do.
nice thing.
Do we have to vote on that tonight?
No, you don't have to.
There's no vote.
I just wanted to know if there were any questions or anything.
No,
Nobody
we
went
went over
over.
the safety with
Right, we
Don.
went over, walked through what we're allowed,
I'm
what
good.
we're allowed to hang
Don, you're
everything,
good?
what we're allowed to do, so.
I'm good.
So much
So-
better than.
so-
Okay.
So the other thing is, so obviously you saved all those lighting, did you expand upon that as well?
The PTA is making a donation we're using it instead of as a fundraiser, as an expense this year, to get it off the ground at the high school, because obviously we need a lot more decorations, it's a much bigger area, and then hopefully from here on in, it'll be more of a fundraiser every year for us. We are charging for the vendors, but we're basically considering it a wash or,
Right.
an investment this year.
I just want everybody to see what the PTA and what Ray through Connect By is doing this,
And John,
and John, well, I'm getting there, and John through the PTA as well, does for the community, for the kids. This is why I fight all the time about them paying for stuff, because they do all this for the kids, and that's a lot of work that they have to put into to do this for all those kids, so I appreciate it.
And we're hoping to get the high school kids involved a lot more
Yeah.
with things, and then we have, some of the teachers there. Michelle Goodwin was involved in doing it in the past at OBMS, so she said she would help us with the sound system, the music, all of that stuff, so.
Are you getting support from the student government and the civic?
Yeah, so the idea also bringing it up to the high school is eventually we want the kids basically to take ownership of this with faculty from the school and obviously the PTSA as well. But we want the kids really, this is something for them to do. And when we were at Kenny's, at Mr. Costa's Thursday for a meeting, we actually had some of the students there from his leadership committee, and we talked with them, had questions with them. We've talked to other kids from the student government. So yes, they definitely want to get involved. They're not really sure what it's going to entail, so that's what we have to kind of bring them into doing. But I think year after year, to answer your question, we're using the same decorations from OBMS, but we need so much more because the school is so much bigger. And hopefully every year we can add something else to it and make it bigger and better every year, somewhere everybody goes, oh my God, we have to go to Winter Wonderland and Connect What. Even our own, just our community obviously, but we even want other communities to come and say, oh, we have to go to that. Connect What is known for Winter Wonderland, among other things. And our great graduation.
So now the other thing is too, so now that you have some of the kids who will know being Taurus, are you being aware of some of those attention? Because now they're probably 9th graders right now,
Oh,
so.
absolutely, yeah, some of the 9th, 10th graders, because we took the 1 year off. So everybody has said that they're excited to have it back. We just hope that we can do it justice, but I think we can. I think we
I
can do
have
an
no
amazing
doubt.
job at the high school. It's just gonna be a lot of work, and we need a lot of involvement from the staff, from the community administration, from the parents, and the students themselves.
Okay, well, we appreciate you, we appreciate your staff and
Thank
your
you.
children that are helping out with this event. Again, I'm excited and looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
I think we all are.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
for,
much.
thanks for being here after having the surgery. I can't believe it. I'm like, why is she here? So, thanks.
Because I have to keep her in check.
Somebody has to.
Okay, we're moving on to public comment. You have come up to the podium, address the board president. You have 3 minutes to speak. Please do not mention a staff member or a child. Costa beat you.
Hello, I know, I apologize. I'm sorry for missing the student government report. There was a structure fire in Oakdale, but I'm back now. As far as events for the student government this coming week, we do have pep rally and homecoming occurring this Friday on the 18th. So pep rally is going to occur at around 12:30ish is our current goal. So we're going to have a truncated schedule for the day. All 9 periods will still go on, but it'll all be done by about 12:30, so each period will be about 20 minutes in length. After that, pep rally should end at the end of the school day, so 2 o'clock. Parade will follow at 4:30, the football game at 6, and then fireworks at approximately 9 o'clock, depending on what time the game is. After homecoming, we do have Safe Halloween on October 27th, which we're already gearing up for in between the organizing of everything for this week. So all the kids are very excited for that one, and then we'll be doing further community outreach and handing out flyers and things like that for those events that follow. So
Beautiful.
that's all I have for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have
Okay.
senior breakfast, did you enjoy?
I actually was unable to attend. I had to go to the 5 Academy that day. Adam said it was great.
Yeah, Emily enjoyed it too. Okay, now it's called a question. If anybody has any comments or questions, feel free to come up and speak about it. Oh man, this is beautiful. I'm gonna be home by 10 to 9.
Wait.
Wait. And going once, going twice. Oh, jelly.
I thought there was a second school meeting.
There is.
Oh, there is one?
Yeah.
There is, yeah.
Okay.
My question more so is about stuff on the consent agenda.
Okay.
So, more so, my question is for the school resource officer. How many other schools does he serve?
You know, it's funny, one of my questions.
He told me it was, I believe he's 65 or 67 schools. I want to say 67.
That's with a lot of them in Suffolk County.
There's only one guy.
Correct.
Multiple school districts.
So that means that if, God forbid, there is an event in our district, he could be at one of those other, how many, 60-something
67.
schools? So what are we doing in place of that? If, God forbid, there's an event that we need that school resource officer in there?
Mr. Flynn, would you be able to answer that question?
I think we have, don't we have this on tonight? Don't we have this on?
With the MOU.
Yeah, Mr. Flynn, sorry.
Without, obviously it's a big part of our plan on a day-to-day basis. We practice, we train. We have a number of things in place that we can talk about, overtly, and there's things we have behind the scene. We are a part of the video share program with the Suffolk County Police Department. That's in the video in. We acknowledge, we've known John Scanger for a long time. I do know, the work that he has. We have cars in the 5th precinct that will respond also, but it's what we do in the first 30 seconds. So between the staff and the students, what we do in each building. That's what we do every day.
So I have to tell you, one of the things that Suffolk County sues the town of Islip, we get together with the powers that be through Suffolk County PD, and Don wants to go to the table each and every time, because each and every time I say, I want my own. I think it's ridiculous that we share this kind of resource. They're invaluable. When I was a principal, they had one district. And I saw that SRO almost every day, and I was principal of an alternative high school. Suffolk County funding is not at the level right now where they can have them in every school district. However, every single time I have a way to speak to an SCPD person, I tell them it's an invaluable resource that we need. The MOU that's on the consent agenda today is because in order to even allow the SRO to work with us and be part of our emergency plan, we need to have a signed MOU. But, and I would never not do that. That's something that,
Officer Skenga is an invaluable resource to the district.
Right, that, my question is, school shootings aren't, I mean, there's still something that is in our society, unfortunately, and a lot of other districts are still continuing to arm their guards. And we are one of the districts that employs, I mean, you can confirm, most of our security guards are retired, if not active law enforcement, are they not?
Yes.
So I don't understand us not doing it. I could understand if it was like, you know, you don't want to characterize, but like a 20-year-old who just graduated college that took a security job. These are men that, even if they're not getting the training through the district providing it, they're receiving it, and they have received it. And that's my concern as a parent, is why we keep talking about it. I bring it up, and all these other districts that don't have the resource that we have with active or retired law enforcement are doing this, not us. It's like mind-boggling. And I understand money, but, okay, we approve libraries, but is that gonna keep my kids safe? Not really. It's pretty, it's beautiful, but it's not gonna keep my child safe when one of those officers could be at another 60-something schools when we need them. And that's what's concerning to me.
Can we designate our own SRO?
I don't think so
No, we
legally
can.
in Suffolk County.
Okay, this has been my topic for many, many years, and it will continue to be my topic, where I believe that we need to start to seriously discuss looking into arming somebody on the perimeter. Start small and do what other schools are doing. Do what Syosset's fighting for, do what other school districts like Mount Sinai, like Hauppauge, like many other schools are going, because it is ridiculous to have 67 schools on one officer.
Yeah.
But most people don't even take the time to realize how ridiculous that is. If something happens, you're gonna get officers here, absolutely, but you are most likely not going to get your SRO in time. Things happen, they happen in the first 5 minutes. I don't care what anyone tells you, I'm an active police officer, you are not gonna get somebody to a scene, especially in today's day of where our high school is and how hard it is a lot of times for traffic-wise, we know this already, in time. God forbid it's the high school. It doesn't always have to be the high school, it could be one of the other schools. It's something that I am going to work with the other board members and look into seriously now. Actually, me and Lee just had a conversation the other day where I said that I think it's time to get serious about arming somebody on the perimeter. I
That's
mean,
my, I work
we
right
have
now outside of high
experience,
school. You can't
Mr.
enter
Flynn,
that
we
property
can
without
definitely,
being greeted by an armed
invaluable,
guard. It's at the gate where
get
I
some
drive by him
information.
every single day.
So what does he
Sharon?
do? Does he check the car or anything?
He checks the car and the IDs.
It's excellent.
And I don't know, I mean, I don't know if they're in the buildings, I know they're on the perimeters. And as a parent, that's fine with me. I don't know if I necessarily want one walking the hallways, let's say, you know what I mean? But to the point with the SRO responding, that's not, the SRO, if he's all the way at Sachem East, he's not the one, that responding officer, I think special needs too, because my daughter is. SRO is the one who's normally with our children and knows our children, as well as our security guards. The responding officer is not.
Right.
And that's what's concerning to me. It should be the men and women that work with our children every single day. And that's for me as a parent.
Our
I mean, I
SRO is-
started pushing for this last year, and it was a horrific circumstance that pushed it, but now I feel like all these other districts are starting to do it, and like I said, I drive by Mount Sinai every single day, and there they are, there's 2 of them right at the gate. And they check IDs,
So
they're armed.
they're checking IDs with the
What
high
you're
schoolers
doing
that
now.
are going, so I'm not familiar with their grounds. So are kids being checked, the high schoolers?
Every
are
car
driving?
that pulls up to that gate has to present who they are
So
and why
then
they're
how
there.
are they doing for timing as far as,
I know a lot of parents have had issues with it. I know a lot of parents also in Mount Sinai, they're also used to being able to drop off a latte to their children, and you're not allowed anymore.
Well, there's also schools that are.
But you know what? A lot of the parents are like, they don't need the latte. They know to get into those grounds is you have to work, like you have to be there for a reason.
There's districts like Hempstead that use metal detectors and things like that, and they have a good amount of kids. It's just that it's a work in motion. I mean,
Yeah.
that here I think would be a mess, but in reality, there are school districts that do that.
They've been doing that.
And they'll make do. Look, everybody was upset about the doors, and then when they find out why they were renumbered for response reasons, that it's actually like a federal thing, they're, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, if you explain it, and they, once the first year, they might hem and haw over it, but that's gonna be with anything.
As far as funding for an SRO, we're at that, what are we at, 4.8 right now? We've gotten it down from 15, but we're at 4.8. So we still have 0.8 at least.
Yeah, but that's, what Jill said before between, we have libraries, that's a capital project versus an operational budget.
But that 0.8, if I, and I don't, it's not released yet.
Well,
And I know that 0.8
how
can
are
be
the schools
used
doing
to
it?
fund other to create a position, and it can go back to the taxpayers.
Yeah, like an operational budget's different than a capital improvement then, like
Yes.
budget-wise.
Yes.
So how are
But
the
we
other
have-
districts, like Jackie just said, how are they doing it?
Well, we
They
can
put it in an
actually do that.
operational budget.
Gotcha.
We can put it in our operational budget.
And that would be, if the board says we want to arm guards and it's gonna cost X amount of dollars, we would do the research to find out how much it was gonna cost. And then put that in the budget for the community to vote
Like
on.
the same thing with salaries,
Yeah,
how
it would
we
just be in
run.
that code.
Gotcha.
So my recommendation is, Jackie, is that, with Don Flynn's permission, because he's gonna be organizing this, I think we definitely should have community input, so that's something,
Absolutely.
have a committee, maybe Don, if you don't mind, maybe forming a small committee or a big committee, because I don't wanna leave anybody out, I want this to be as transparent as possible, so that formal presentations can be made, pros and cons of everything, because there's always a con and a pro to something. Would you be interested in organizing something like this, Don, so that we can get community input to see where they stand, and also to see the majority of your community wants to have armed staff on the perimeter of the properties?
Tell me what you need to be done.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So I think with him organizing it, having community input, having community concerns, so then when he does come to the Board of Ed table, he can make a presentation and say, okay, this is what the committee's concerns were, this is how we address the concerns, and be a little bit more formalized.
Yeah.
So I would
It should be,
appreciate
it should not be something that
We should be-
taken lightly, and
No,
it shouldn't.
every facet should be considered.
All right, so Don, I appreciate
You wanna know
you.
something? The benefit also that most people aren't realizing is, we now have other schools that we can look to that have done this. And we have other schools and we have other information and statistics showing that there hasn't been any situation that has been addressed where there has been a dischargeable weapon or anything on the grounds. There hasn't been any issues in the last two years with people, I'm saying, in other districts. So we do have
So the committee
some,
can put that
this committee
information
to
together.
get some of this information out to the public. And there might be people that are against it, but that now see,
But they should be, all
All
those budgets should be
included.
addressed.
Right.
Because the other thing
Well,
that I
pros
had
and
heard, and
cons.
I'm not sure, I don't know, Don, if you know, but I heard that one of the districts that did arm their guards also provided the same de-escalation training that special education teachers go through. That was one of the things that were one of the guidelines, like if we approve this, those same security guards have to go through this, and I think that would be for
Yes,
our district.
yeah, because I don't want to sit there and say, okay, let's go on guards. I
Well,
want the
yeah.
particulars out there, I want everybody, I want whoever taxpayer wants to be concerned, informed.
Right.
So when this board has to meet,
Right.
when
And
this
a
board
lot
has
of
to
the
make
parents
that
that have
decision.
questioned me about it were a lot of the special needs population parents have brought that to my attention. If we could find out.
So John, would
I don't know
you,
who it was.
I think doing this type of work is correct, the right way to do it. I will say, I was not in favor of the doors, and for many reasons, and I still think I'm right. I think we jumped into it a little bit before we should have. I think we could have looked at a lot of things. I think we bought the first product just to be proactive, that we did something, not necessarily the right thing. It's coming up, we have the same issues we did with the other doors, even though these are new doors. And I like the way this is being done now. So any of what we're doing now will be thoroughly thought through, thoroughly thought out, pros and cons, community input, education input, our police, our staff input. All that input has to be put. We can't do another
But we just did.
Aren't you happy they jumped for the doors and not the armed guards though?
Oh, no,
So-
no.
All right, so, all
I
right.
can tell
Love
you
you,
this,
Lee.
we need to get Officer Skagna, who is excellent,
Yes.
in here,
Skanga.
Skanga, to speak to the public and not about that, but so much as what he would suggest.
Yeah.
Because I've spoken to many Suffolk police officers, many, and they've all suggested that arming staff is, not staff, that arming security on a perimeter would be your best bet. They said that about all schools.
Okay, so Dawn, can you work with Linda, or Linda, can you do your help wanted?
Sure.
Do a help wanted, and how did you address that as a help wanted, as people in the community that would have interest in attending this meeting? And then, when do we have our next board meeting?
The 29th.
So, oh, it's a little quick.
It's gonna happen, maybe the one in November.
All right, so by November meeting, can you,
And it shouldn't be rushed, I
No,
agree.
we really need to get the whole thing.
okay, so, thank you, Dawn, appreciate you. Okay, anybody else have any questions, anything else?
No.
Okay, any other questions?
Well, we have an act on the 29th, right? I just want everybody to mark their calendars, because we're doing a SEPTA fundraiser, you'll see the tickets are on sale right now.
I'll be there.
November 23rd, we're doing Frozen too. And tickets are $13. You got popcorn, a drink, and your ticket.
I have to rent a child.
I can't go
Come
without
anyway. You can have Anna for the day.
No, she can't.
You can have her.
Wait,
I
no,
rent a child.
one other thing, council PTA is doing something, Lisa,
Can I
on
do-
Safe Halloween?
He's available.
Yeah, like bike safety.
Oh, bike safety.
During the same times as the safe Halloween.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be outside.
But they're gonna be at the high school, I mean,
Yes.
yes, okay, good. I wanna put that out there.
Okay, so we're working, all right, now moving on to the, consent agenda, we have items.
The personnel matters.
Oh, I'm skipping mine. I apologize, we're moving on to schedule one. Resignations, terminations, leave of absence, I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna stay.
You abstaining?
Yes.
Any particular one, or the whole
Yeah,
thing?
just one thing.
The other, all abstentions on
There's one I want to hold on this one though for a second.
schedule two?
You know what, I'm just gonna abstain for the whole thing, that's fine, yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on to schedule two, appointments, tenure, salary changes, I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have 3 ayes, 1 abstention. Is there anything on, schedule one? Nothing in here, right? Okay. All right, moving on to recommended action. We have financial matters, we have overtime reports, July 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2019. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report, August 2019.
Motion. Oh, we did that, right?
Need a motion and a second?
Second.
Lee, will your motion?
I motion.
Yeah, she.
Okay, so Eileen is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Appropriation status, July 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2019. Motion second.
Motion.
I
Second.
have a question.
Okay, so Jackie seconds, question on the table.
Just, what's the ending from the last one? You said we have to wait till October, it's now October.
What do you mean?
Mm,
Are we at 4.8?
That will be the, report next board meeting. Our auditors will be here with
At the
our
next
financial
board meeting?
documents. Correct.
When will that other report that the state did be available?
I would suspect within probably about another couple of weeks. It might coincide with what we get from the independent auditor.
Okay,
Could be even sooner than that, but I suspect that.
all right, thank you.
Okay, so, we have it all in favor on appropriation status?
Yep.
Okay, moving on to revenue status. Report July 1st, 2019 through August 31st,
Lee motion.
2019
Lee motion, I second.
on the revenue status.
Yeah.
I didn't hear Lee.
Yes,
She's
I
got
did.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have consent agenda, I need a motion in a second, then we'll have
Motion.
opportunity for questions. I'll second it. I do have a question, but actually Julie asked it, and Dawn answered it, so it's my question.
Okay, I had a question on, well, I did ask a lot of questions through email, which Linda will put on the website so that everybody can see the questions and get the answers. I'd like number 7 to be pulled for a separate vote, please. I think that's it, I think that's all I have. Hold on, let me just make sure. Yeah, I think it's just number 7, I'd like to be pulled for separate.
I know you also pulled,
There was another one, right?
yes,
What was the other one?
I don't know what number it was, but it was, the MOA.
Which
That's
MOA?
number 7, okay.
Yeah, that is it, that is it.
All right, good.
Number 7, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay, all right, good.
Okay, I just have one question. It's on the district-wide security plan.
I have a question here too.
It does reference the restorative justice. Are we going to be expecting some type of presentation or data collection on how the program's working?
I'd like to see that.
Yes, we're in the works of creating the PowerPoint presentation for you. I think it'll be ready for either the November or the December meeting.
Thank you.
I have one question on that, the security plan. We've already approved this, it said?
No, you haven't approved it. You were actually,
Yes.
Okay,
on July 30th it was presented.
okay,
The community has 30 days to give feedback, and then
Okay.
the board has to approve it as part of the emergency plan for the state.
okay, so on this plan, it has people's names, district-wide safety team. Wait, it says board member. It says parent organizations, special educations, who are all the people? There's no names.
You actually appointed them on the reorg.
So
So
how
I'm
come they're
not
not
sure
in
why
this?
it's blank. I don't know why that's blank. It should be on there.
Well,
Is that not the-
can I get an updated list then of that? I know Jackie is the board member, I know we all said, we all yelled at her, but I don't know who the other people are.
Yeah,
I mean,
the board approved it on the reorg. so
obviously I
can
know
just
who
forward-
the,
I can forward
some of
it
the
to you.
titles are, but I don't, really, for the ones that don't have
Yeah,
that.
it was on a list.
Okay, so if you can get that for me,
I sure
that's
can.
all, okay,
Okay, do we have it all in favor?
for everything except 7?
Yes, we're pulling,
Yes.
pulling 7 for separate, everything
Which
excluding
is 7, is this 7?
items.
Yep.
Items 2 through 20 excluding number 7. Do we have it all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're taking number 7, need a motion in a second?
Motion?
Second,
All in favor?
all right.
Abstain.
Okay, so we have 3 ayes, 1 abstention. Okay, we're moving on to Board of Education committees.
I got none.
I don't know.
Oh, I do have one other question, I should have asked this before. When this wasn't addressed on the, this is the only question that wasn't answered, the ones that I emailed, the interest rates. Ray had brought that up when he was on the board, I'm still seeing .24s, and then I'm seeing ones that have 1 point.
It actually
Something.
was addressed. Mr. Seco actually sent us that they'd already met with the bank, but I'll let.
Well, JP Morgan Chase is our highest one, and we're not consistent throughout, we get lower rates, so when are we fixing that, or when are we doing it?
No, first of all, you're not talking about long rates, long-term rates, because our money is usually in short deposits, because for cash flow
But it's
purposes.
still a lot of interest that we could be earning.
Well, not necessarily. There's not a big difference in money market funds and short-term investments. There's a very small amount. It's not like the good old days where there were
Well,
2,
actually, I
3,
think
4
Ray did the math, and he
percentage
left.
points.
Ray did the math, and it was a substantial amount.
Over a length of time, but I don't know how the length of time he was doing it
I don't know.
on. I don't know that either.
Have to
But
ask
we
him.
try to maximize the interest rates on the time frame we had, because we need that money for payroll, we need it for.
Right, I understand that.
The other thing is that many years ago, there were investments that were attractive to people, and the district got in trouble. There was one called Lion Capital, which became infamous because there were millions of dollars lost in New York State, including 3 or 4 districts here in Long Island that invested in them longer term, and they went belly up. They were repurchase agreements, and they went belly up. So the state regulators said you have to be very cautious with your investments. You're not trying to risk taxpayers' money. Your job is to get.
JP Morgan Chase, though, I'm talking about the existing accounts that we already have that are
Yeah.
1% and higher, and then we have other accounts that are less than 0.5%.
Well, it depends on what those actually the accounts are. Some are checking accounts,
Right.
where they're not getting interest on those. Others are money market
I'm not
accounts.
talking about the ones without interest, I'm talking about the ones that we have the interest, the ones that Ray brought up. You know what, I'll have Ray come in here.
Yeah, let's talk to them.
Okay.
I think that'd be better.
Okay, so there's something that I'd like to bring up. So one of the things that came to my attention of reading a lot of stuff is the HPV vaccine in order to attend public schools. Mr. Como would like to push this as a mandatory thing for our children to have. I did a little bit of research on this. There's 49 victims of the, there were 49 victims of the vaccine awarded, which was over $5 million, almost $6 million. There are 7,244 adverse effects from this Gardasil 9. There's 3% of those that are resulted in death. Gardasil 9 is the only manufacturer of this vaccine. You have to question the monopoly on this, but putting that all aside, I don't care about the politics behind it. I don't care about anything else. I think this is taking away the parents' right to choose. When you speak about HPV, you talk about sexually transmitted diseases, and this is obviously part of that, which is the HPV virus. Again, I think that this is more of a parent and child discussion, not a mandatory that a child would need this to enter into schools. I think Governor Cuomo.
Isn't this at the state level though?
I think he's proposing this.
Right, so
So-
wouldn't we have to fight that at the state level?
So what I'm like is support from the board, so that we can instruct Linda to write a letter and saying that we're opposed to having our children have to be
What grade?
mandated
That's
for.
what, they get that in high school, right?
They're-
You don't have to get it, right now it's
No,
not.
but
mandatory.
normally you get that when you're a freshman or
Well, they tried to give it to my daughter.
They're
They
trying
want
to
to
do
start
it
at age
now.
9, like.
Yeah.
Is it 9?
It's right now, it's currently 11. They
It was
wanna-
11
They want to
with Rachel.
administer it to children age 9. There are no peer-reviewed studies
Yeah,
on
that's
it
ridiculous.
to
They
the
tried to
side
give it to my
effects.
daughter.
It should be a personal decision for parents.
Yeah, so this is,
I
you
would
know,
look at things.
I can share my research, but then again, that's my personal research and what I found. Again, I think none of that matters. I don't think the political side of this really matters. The most important part that matters to me is that this is a decision that should be between a parent and a child and should not be forced upon any family to have to do this in order to attend school.
It's not like the mumps or the measles, that where if they go to school, they're gonna
Yeah.
give it to, right, it's not public health.
Right, exactly. It's not a public health risk. So, can I get support from the board to have Linda write something up to Governor Cuomo so that we can put on record as one of the schools that are not in favor of this proposal?
Is that how the community?
Yeah, I would like to know how the community feels. I'm with you on that, in my personal feelings, but I don't wanna speak for the entire community. What if
You're speaking for Governor Cuomo speaking for the people by
Right, but
saying
what
yes,
90% of our community says they wanna give the HPV?
but then that's
But
their
then it's
choice.
Giving them the choice, you have the
It's
choice.
your
The
choice.
problem is
Taking
that you
your
don't
choice
want
away.
people to dictate
What
and
you can
set
become.
something into law that should be voluntary.
Well, let him
especially
get the
with your children.
vaccine.
Well, that's what
Let
we're
home will get it first.
This
What
would,
we're saying is voluntarily do what you want with your children,
Yeah.
because this isn't one of those vaccines.
No, I
that
understand
you
what
have
she
to
said,
get.
but I also
And there's
get what
also
Lee's
not
saying.
enough research over the years since it's
But
relatively
what,
new.
what my Lynn's asking us to do is make a decision based on our feelings, and what Lee's saying is, we have to make a decision based on the community. I think the community is going to agree with the research. I think from what I've seen online, and again, my daughter's now 23, they started this when she was 11. So you're talking many years ago, they tried to give her the vaccine. So this discussion has been out there, people are aware. So if we just do like a survey with the community, I'm sure that survey's gonna come back.
Why do we need to
Okay,
separate
well,
them?
but I
But
still think
I think Lee is right that we should
Nobody's
do
So,
I
that.
mean, I feel opposite, I feel like if it's,
Let me-
if
let me-
you
if
leave
they
it
wanna do it,
voluntarily,
let me ask
it's-
this question.
Well, yes, I'm saying, leave
like
it
the
voluntary.
parents can voluntarily do it, you
But
shouldn't be
It's
mandated.
the
Right, but
people's
we're-
choice. Why do we need a survey?
That's not what my Lynn's
I
asking.
agree.
That is what, that's
Right.
what,
But what I'm saying,
Well,
what I'm also saying
Sable
is,
already did it.
does this, say you don't get the vaccine and you get this disease, can you spread this? disease?
No.
no.
No,
Okay,
Sexual
so my personal feeling is
Is-
I would write the letter.
right.
I can't speak for
That's what I'm
over
saying.
30,000
Yeah,
people.
that's
My personal feeling is I'd write the letter too. But I think that the community needs to tell us to write the,
It's
to
like
direct
sex
Liz to write the board.
education.
Yeah, but you're,
And I think that you're gonna get the community support.
yeah, but now I'm gonna spend $5,000 on a survey to only tell me what I know?
I'll do a Google Doc survey for you.
Yeah, quick ones. And then
Two
by next
questions.
meeting,
They
we can write that letter. I agree with you. I
But if
agree
a
with you.
parent wants to do the HPV, we're not excluding them
We're
from
not
doing it.
telling, no, we're just saying, we're asking the parent, do they want us to speak out for them? To go to Cornwall, that's what we're asking them.
Okay.
That's all we're asking them.
But
Do
you're
you want us to
protecting
speak
the
out
rights of
for
every
you
child by
as
speaking
a
out.
board,
Service
as a
for
school
that.
district, to say no Cornwall? And I think a lot of people are gonna say,
So
yes,
then-
they want us to do that.
So then, Linda, when you do your survey, you can use that in your letter, that out of 6,000 children in our district, that's the
Right.
amount of families
Right.
that disagreed with this.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think,
I support, I'll support
I
my
think-
I'll
think
support my
the
argument.
four of us right now all agree that we should write that letter, but we should ask the community.
Yeah, I think we have to draw the
Yeah.
line where,
I agree.
we're vaccinating
I
children.
did not vaccinate my child.
What?
They actually tried to do it when my husband took them one time. And he called me up and I was like, no, don't let him give him that one, because I wasn't there. So,
Okay, so Linda, if you could do a survey on that,
Yep.
I can pretty much assure you
I
that
think
the
they will be
community
right
would
for
not
that.
be.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying that parents have not done it, but it's a parent's choice
It's a
to do
parent's
so.
choice and it's
Do
not
not
a
sit
communicable
there as a
disease, so there's
school
no,
and tell me that I have to do something that I am against.
right, it's not the mums or the measles, right?
No, that's why I said it should be voluntary.
Right.
What you wanna do voluntarily is
But
with your
that bill
children
takes
is
away
your
your
right.
And
right,
then just don't
it
forget
gives
to
the
vote.
school the option to inject your child without your knowledge, that's what that bill does.
That's exactly right.
So it's not even a matter of you making a decision to say, I wanna homeschool my child, rather than have that. Your
Correct.
school nurse can now inject your 9-year-old without your knowledge or consent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I can't see why we're doing this.
I can't see why the community would say no to us.
Well, I didn't know,
Speaking up for that, but-
that part.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, so I mean,
Is
I
that what
understand that you
Como
want the
wrote?
community input.
That's part of what's in
But
his
it's
bill.
just protecting the
Will
community's
the bill
choices.
end up that way? I don't know, but it is part of what's in his bill.
Yeah,
So
that's
Lee, if you look at my Facebook page, you'll see the letter, you'll see a news article, and you'll also see, deaths due to
Well, I mean,
the Gardasil.
I totally object to anyone giving a child a shot
Without
a parent.
parental,
That's what I'm
yes.
saying, that's.
Well, I didn't know that was in
Yes.
the
Well,
bill.
the bill's not passed yet, but, and usually those
My
bills
child
don't,
already got
when
a
it
shot.
starts
He's
out, it never
going to
ends
pass
us.
it
But
before
if we can,
January, before the election, that's what he's pushing for.
Ah.
So that's
That's
why
why I'm,
it's
like,
of
very much
utmost
against that.
importance
Okay,
that
you
we
know
don't
what?
So
waste
that's-
time to
I
speak
changed my
up.
mind.
Other districts
Forget
have
the
spoken
parents.
up.
Forget the
Okay.
parents. I
That's
don't
why
think
I
it
said
could-
just-
anyone in the community, I wouldn't want it for my child.
Thank you, Lee, that's what I was,
Well, I didn't know that part.
Well, I didn't wanna slam.
And I
you.
didn't
You're not
know-
gonna do the
not-
survey, you're just gonna write the letter?
Yeah,
I
we're gonna
just
write the
think-
letter.
I just think we should write the letter because
When I
if
hear
it was
you can't
against
have
it,
kids
it's
inoculate the
voluntary.
kids.
I'm
We're
all
not
for
telling
you.
people you can't inject your child, don't inject your children. We're not for allowing somebody to do it for them.
then I'll go with that too. I'll go with that.
I'm not taking it away from
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I didn't-
That was my point, like, I don't care.
All right, Linda, write the letter.
Linda, write the letter.
Thank you.
Okay.
Be very specific to also mention, how dare you, how dare anyone inoculate?
A child without a parental
Go
consent.
look on my Facebook page,
It's
the
already been
9-year-old is
done.
already inoculated.
Yeah, I'm
In New
100%
York?
against that.
In New York, yes, the Bronx.
Well, that wasn't coming either.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Stop it.
It was a 9-year-old child, they didn't
I'm only
need it.
kidding.
They should sue and win that one.
Yeah.
So Lisa, would you have to be instrumental in writing this letter with Linda?
I'm looking at the bill right here, I don't see that portion of what's being talked about in the bill.
I didn't know that part.
So I would of course wanna work with Linda to make sure that it's accurate and
Okay.
consistent with the
We
bill.
don't wanna put something up there that's not accurate.
Right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but that's not accurate. You had
I thought I
to-
heard that
No,
part was my
I'm
mom.
sorry.
I didn't read it.
It's got a lot of words, so I need to.
So in this letter,
It's up to anyone.
That bill
No,
is
I didn't know. I didn't know that part.
felons.
so Lisa, in this letter, you wanna highlight
As children.
that they're the only company
And
that's
it's
doing
only
it?
girls.
And murder.
What?
It's only females,
That's
right?
boys too.
Campaign.
No,
No,
it's only girls.
Only girls,
They
only
say
girls.
girls, boys, but they say they wanna make sure girls are vaccinated by the time they're 12.
Oh, heck no, oh, heck no. So anyways, can you put in, obviously, that needs to be addressed in the letter,
It's not.
the fact that there's
That's
how
what I'm
many.
reading, I'm just, this one, like I said, I haven't had an opportunity to.
I didn't read the whole thing, I read parts of it, so I didn't see the part.
There's
They
a lot of other
vacillate
parts
between
piggyback
talking
to
about
that too,
boys
snuck
and
in there, you
girls,
need
and
to
then at
look
the end
Oh,
they
yeah, I
talk
didn't
about
read
girls, so I need to.
All right, the other piece I want to be added into this letter is how many deaths already due to the vaccine, which is about 3% what I read. How many adverse effects, which is
There's a lot.
7,244, is
How
what
much
I
the
read
vaccine
today.
report came.
And the fact that, I think the other one too is that maybe you might only address it to Como, but to also Brad Hayman, Haylman, who actually went on record and said that this vaccine was very safe, but probably didn't do his research that 3% of the children that were vaccinated died.
Well, to them, that's
And
probably
another
acceptable.
There's
There's
actually a new study that says it's very
was
dangerous.
vaccine injured. And you have the number of the bill, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from the board? Okay, Ms., no, we have you.
You.
Yes, we have you.
So, Nico stole my thunder because I was gonna talk about, homecoming. So, it's the first time we're doing it on a Friday night. I would love to see the whole community there. So, let's get everybody there to watch our football game and then come out and watch our fireworks display. So, first time we're trying it on a Friday night, so we'll have to see how that works out, but it's kind of exciting to do it as a Friday Night Lights game. So, I hope to see the community there.
Thank you. Oh, I see Dean hitting that button.
Just a quick update, we had started conversations last year regarding revising our health options and offerings for our students and bringing it down to ninth grade. That was a conversation we started probably late in the budget cycle, but we did restart that again this year with regards to moving health to ninth grade for our high school students. Currently, Mr. Costa, as well as our athletic director, some of our health teachers, and some of our other building administrators are involved in conversations about that, and we'll be making a presentation to the board shortly.
So I don't know if you know this answer, but if you can ask the question, I really appreciate it. Somebody had brought to my attention, in the health class, and they don't know if this is part of the curriculum, but is asking the question if that it is. Is it taught no means no?
I think there's a portion about decision-making and communication, so that is definitely something that we're going to, when we look at the program, we're not just moving the program to ninth grade, we're going to make some significant changes with regards to the continuity, K through 12, and what is being talked about. And, we're also working with our YFS workers who do our health lessons in the elementary. So it will be a consistent message with common language throughout the grades.
What,
So
no means no? No means no. My son learned that. Because every time I said something, would say something to him, he goes, I was taught well. Mom, I said no, and no means no. He learned it well, but he used it on me.
So just to follow up on that, this is the first time that New York State Education Department has changed the health and physical education standards in about 15 years. So we're ahead of the curve in making sure that we're moving in the 21st century as to what the health curriculum needs to be.
Thank you.
In addition, we are about a week into our Lunch and Learn with our foreign language program.
How's that doing?
So far, so good. We've had some small glitches with regards to picking up and dropping off, but we're averaging about 20 minutes of instructional time during the lunch period. So, so far, fingers crossed, it's going really well.
I've heard some really good stuff.
The lunchtimes, is that, while we're on that topic, I've had some questions about the extended recess. Is that still going on, and how do we know?
The extended recess is scheduled in every building.
Okay.
Are you looking into next year, moving this to all grades? Is that the direction we're going, or are we, since we're getting such good numbers?
Yes, we've come up with a variety of different scenarios. We want to still work with our instructional staff to make sure to see the impact of another instructional program within the current school day. So we will be making presentations to the board as far as a variety of different plans going forward.
So can the board get an invite to the Lunch and Learn?
Of course.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
We will be setting up, so Mrs. August did ask for visitations. So we have a variety of new programs that we're working through. We're in our 4th year of our writing program. We're in our 1st year of our reading program, as well as our Lunch and Learn. So we'll be sending out invitations for visitations, as well as our innovation labs and our computer science and engineering is now in its second year as well. Another fantastic program that the board has supported. So we'll be sending out invitations for all of this.
Awesome, looking forward to that.
Can I ask, now my turn?
Yes.
How are we doing with coding? Anything new?
Yes, we are in our second year. We have our 6 to 8 week rotations for all K through 5 students. We have embedded our Kidoyo as well as our Arduino boards into our technology classes in the middle school, and our computer science academy and electives at the high school are growing beyond belief. We just updated our computer science lab at the high school, so it's state of the art. We're really excited about that. So we have an amazing K through 12 program.
Monica? Okay.
Oh, yeah, and Monica, you can share that they're doing Wonder,
Can we sit tight till the next board meeting? I'll have additional facts for you.
for about Wonder? I thought that was set for the 10th.
We're looking at the January date, and meeting with the principals tomorrow again,
Oh,
and I'd like to share out more formally at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rosa, normally you can't share, but you know, so let's move on. Okay, moving on to public comment.
Shocking, I know.
Hello, Helene.
I actually have a kudos to give. I just want to say that the advisors for homecoming, every single one of them, they put in way more hours than you guys could possibly ever imagine for these kids. 110%. I have the absolute joy of having one of the floats at my own house this year. And the commitment that all of the advisors make. I have 3 kids in the high school this year, and it's just unbelievable. The amount of time and effort that they put into making sure that the children have and do, and they're just wonderful. So they really just deserve an absolute,
Every year they do.
they really do, they really do. And I don't think anybody realizes, and even myself, I didn't realize, and my kid's been doing it for years, I didn't realize that they really just put in, I mean, honestly, they just left my house like an hour ago. Like, they're so great. They sacrifice time with their own families every single weekend. And I just wanted to say that that was just such a nice thing, and they really genuinely care about what's going on with the kids and how to make it good for them, so they have a great day. It definitely is a lot of sacrifice on their part. I do have a quick question, and it pertains a little bit to security. So when the drop-off procedure, when you drop an item off for your children at the school, I feel like it needs like a little bit tightening up, my personal opinion. So if I go up to the high school, because I have to bring, I don't know, say my kid forgot the instrument or needs a jacket or whatever. The current procedure is you go up, you get buzzed in the little box, and you tell the lady what you have. Now, you leave all your stuff on a table. It seems to be in every building. You leave your stuff on a table with a Post-it. Not really comfortable with that. Sometimes I don't want to leave the item that I brought up, even if it's a jacket. Like, anybody could just walk in and just grab the kid's stuff and go. And I just feel like, one, it doesn't secure my children's items. And I think that anybody can leave anything on that table.
Since Rachel, again, she's 23, and I was not comfortable, and I always said, I'll wait until the.
I thought they instituted that like 2 years ago.
They did, and honestly, I don't know, I just was up there not too long ago.
No, the table.
The
No, the
table
table's
has
been there
been there for a while.
But I always waited. I said to the ladies, no, I'll wait until in between periods.
You can't always, it's a little bit different now, it takes
Well, I
time. You
don't
can't
know what it is now.
always And at an elementary school,
Well,
Yeah, I
or
don't know what it
middle
is
school,
now.
even, they don't like,
Yeah.
elementary, it's a little different sometimes, but not really. But middle school, and I understand the reasoning for it, but I just feel like, I don't know, like if your kid forgets something, like I wouldn't leave their items unattended anywhere, and they're unattended there, and everybody comes into the main, what they can get turned away, it could be the delivery guy comes in with me, and I'm not saying people are running off with everybody's, sweat jacket, but I just think like you wouldn't leave your pocketbook unattended somewhere, you wouldn't leave your shoes somewhere, like, I don't know, I think there has to be a better setup. I mean, obviously, sometimes I'm bringing up like trip money, and I'm like, I hand it to the lady, I'm like, could you please, because it's money, I don't want to leave it there, but I've seen like other stuff locked up there, food, whatever, like I just think it just invites, it's an attractive nuisance, that would be my thought on it, so if there's a way to maybe make sure that.
Last year, I know I stood in the same spot as you, and I spoke about this at the elementary school. I know that elementary 2 years ago did not have this. In my school, at least where my son was. It was like 2 years ago that they instituted this table. Last year, I know, I had an issue with the table, my own personal self.
Yeah, I know.
And I wasn't for it.
I just
was
think
against
it's,
it.
you know, I get why that, you know, and you know, but it, you almost feel like you're going up there for your kid and you're like, get out. And I get it, look, yeah, security is obviously the most important thing, 110%, but we're not really securing anything. I think it's a full sense of security at that point, and I just think it leaves our kids open to, you know, just things that could happen.
Well, if I see an iPhone, no, I'm just kidding.
No, but you know what, even if
No,
I'm bringing
no,
up
but I
anything
understand.
for you, even if I'm bringing up munchkins for my kid for a class party, I don't wanna leave them
Well,
on a
munchkins I
table.
might eat.
But I don't wanna leave them
I
on a
would.
table in the lobby or something like, you know, like, I just think that
I'm
there's
not
gotta
making
be a
light out of
better, no, I understand, but I think there's gotta be a better way to do it, and, you know, it's a little unwelcoming too as a parent, just, you know, on the other side of it too, you know, we definitely support it, but. So if you could figure out something else to do, that would be great, you know, maybe there's, we could pass it into the office, there could be something in there.
If anybody else there has any ideas.
You know, at least I felt like if I dropped something off at the high school prior to this, you went into the office, yes, there was a tape, you put it up on the thing in the office.
Yeah.
The ladies were there, they knew, it was only the adults that worked in the building that were there. It wasn't a barrage of random people coming through that little box area.
Oh, it's in, oh.
It's
yeah,
in the
it's
box,
office
it's not the
anymore.
office, no.
Oh, because I'm like,
Changed
It's in the vestibule,
Oh,
it's in the
I
house,
like
yes,
that.
the vestibule.
2
That's
years.
why I used to go into the office.
Yes, me too,
Oh.
now it's in the
I tell you,
vestibule.
2 years
All right,
ago,
so 2
this
years ago,
summer,
yeah.
2 years ago, I left
School,
my
right.
son's shirt on a
A table.
a table,
With
and
a
I was
post-it.
standing in that exact spot complaining about it, because the shirt, no one knew where the shirt went.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, it's nothing, it's not the importance of it, was more the principle.
Well, that's exactly it, you know, so if there's a better way to do it, I'm all for keeping security 100, you know, we definitely, that's,
Don,
my
they-
kid's safe,
they
but
do something about it.
I don't know, we gotta do something else.
Don,
That's
fix
just
that.
You don't wanna hear my opinion.
Nope, just fix it.
I wanna hear your
I'm still
opinion.
coming up there,
Yeah.
bring us up, so.
I wanna hear,
That's what
I wanna hear Mr. Flynn's opinion.
His opinion is don't forget it.
Can't have it both ways.
You're right,
Can't have it both ways.
you're right. You want,
And if you look on a daily basis, how many of the lattes and bottles of water actually come up there? I get it when sometimes kids, I have my own three, let them go hungry, quite honestly. But the fact of the matter is that
Like, you're not my daddy.
you keep the hallways for the students.
Can't they secure those items though in the main office though,
They
instead
do,
of that hallway?
when the vestibule empties out, when there's nobody in the vestibule, then security goes out and brings the stuff into those cubbies inside. So they don't,
I've never seen that happen.
what's that?
I've never seen that happen.
That's what, the kids don't go out there and get them. So the idea was to not to have the parents come as far as the vestibule and do not enter into the, because.
Well, don't we have the guy at the
Yeah,
window,
but
can't we just hand it to the window and
this
let
is
them
where
put it in the office?
this is where I have the issue. I have
Right?
had this issue for many years. The way that these vestibules are set up, and the way that we're handing things off, it's just, I understand what Jen's saying, it is a very unwelcoming feeling. I'm one for more security, always have been, and I say it, we have great security guards, but stronger security. But at the same token, there has to be a healthy balance of parent involvement in these kids. We have so much mental illness and mental issues that we need to start to realize that it is really a team thing. We need to know that parents are involved. If the parents aren't involved to some degree, it is, I'm not saying to drop off lattes. If it's for that,
I just want them to secure
But
the
I'm saying,
items,
like,
that's really it.
I'm just saying, if say your child is in elementary school and they forget their instrument at home, that kid's now gonna have anxiety all day long, because I have one of those kind of kids who, oh my God, I left my instrument at home, it's the end of the world. To us, it's not the end of the world, it's like, all right, it's just an instrument, but to them, it could actually ruin their entire day, something that minor. I just feel like
I'm not naive, but I don't know, are you saying that things are going missing? Because
No, what I'm saying is that they're not secure, so if you drop something off, would you
On
feel
the
comfortable
table.
leaving your
It could just be
wallet on
picked
that
up by the
table
next
with a
parent that walks
post-it?
in.
I would not feel comfortable leaving an item that, say my kid forgot something home, whether it's of value or not, I'm not bringing up lattes, I'm bringing up important items for my family. I don't care if anyone brings up a latte, I wish they'd bring me one. But
No,
my
I'm just
point
saying
is
if
that
it
the
wasn't,
items are not
that's-
secure. I'm not even asking to go into the building. I'm simply stating we're putting all this stuff on this table, this vestibule, that every time Dick and Harry can walk into.
So it needs to be brought in quicker. It needs to be brought in.
Secure it
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
away.
Because we've had
With the
situations
security
in the
officer.
past,
Or like-
you should know,
yeah.
especially at the high school, when we have had adults get into confrontations with kids that they have come across.
But even if I could hand it to the person, you know, they have the little McDonald's window, they have
Yeah, that's
a
not
window.
from that, hand it to the
Have
window.
the
That
windows like
shouldn't be
this.
either, but that's
But
another
like,
story.
have someone there that you can hand it off to, at least put it in the office and secure it. I felt like it's just not secure, that's really it. I'm not asking to come in.
Okay,
Mr. Middleman will talk to the secondary principals.
Okay.
At his meeting this week.
thank you.
Hi, Madam.
Hello.
So clearly, everybody likes things done promptly, picking up instruments and lattes and whatever. I also like things done promptly. Members of my unit have been waiting since June for things to be resolved, and I have been patient. We've had a lot of rollover, a lot of change. I've told everybody to keep forging ahead, do what they do, working above and beyond their title, and realized that an item was pulled this evening, and that would be my item.
It was voted on, just one extension.
Passed.
Okay,
It
are
passed.
we through?
Yeah,
Because I'm
passed,
trying,
yeah.
what's the separate vote? Because I'm like, already, how am I gonna explain this?
No, it passed.
but we
It passed.
Thank you.
It
Thank
passed.
you for your kindness, because I don't think I can push them off any longer.
No, it passed, it went through, I just abstained.
Lovely. Really? Yeah, come on, Eileen. They work hard.
It wasn't, it had nothing to do with that.
They work hard.
It had nothing to do with that. It's not what
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thank you.
I think you all work very hard.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else? Oh, here we go, Chris.
Just want to follow up what I brought up last meeting about safety regarding the bus stops, the children walking on roads where the speeds are approaching 70 miles an hour. Have they been found yet? Do you know number of students that live in houses on those roads? How many bus stops might be added? The routing that might be involved?
I did request that information today.
We actually did, in the email, I don't know if you saw it yet, Linda, but we had another parental concern about another,
Yes, and that stuff has changed.
that stuff has changed, but, I mean,
I also asked that any correspondence that is given to transportation be shared with the board so that we're aware of other unsafe or perceived unsafe conditions
yeah, we can't have them, going to the transportation room at the same,
that being unresolved or not
Yeah.
resolved.
especially when it comes to kid safety, so. We are working on it with transportation.
Nothing been found yet?
Well, all I know is that when I asked transportation to research what had happened in time, apparently there was an accident going back several years ago in which a bus was rear-ended on the expressway south.
Okay.
And the decision was made at that time to take bus stops off of those highly traveled, high-speed routes.
Okay.
And, so I'm talking about Pond, Lakewood, Ocean, Roseville.
Motor Parkway, et cetera, sure.
Yeah, sure. And I, on a daily basis, to and from, I travel on Ocean and Roseville. And I can see why they were thinking off of those roads. Those are very, very high-speed roads. I equate it to like the Blue Angels flying drunk. You know? It's wild. Cars are really moving fast. And the thought of stopping the bus with the red lights flashing and cars, what they're gonna do, some will speed up to get ahead of the bus, to beat it. Others won't realize it's stopping and slam on the brakes. So the potential for accidents, I think, is greater having it stopped on those roads. It's not to say that they couldn't stop on those roads, they shouldn't, but I think in a general term, that's what was decided several years ago, was not to do that.
Do we not think that perhaps a giant school bus of steel and metal and iron might provide more security for a student? And it's purely just walking along that very same road, people flying by like the Blue Angels doing 70 miles an hour. I'd rather take my chances being hit while I'm in a bus than by
Well,
myself
that's where,
walking down the road.
that's where, in that case, the bus stop should be moved closer to the house so the child does not have to walk on those unsafe roads. And we've been doing that in several situations.
There's no option here. There is basically Woodlawn, and then the next road is a turn off to Roseville. There's about 8 houses between there. This person is let off, and then 6 houses later. I watched them walk up the block, 6 houses to get to
So
their
there's,
home.
there's
There is no other cross street there. This is the closest cross street to their house, but it is still 6 houses along a straightaway where the county has only widened the road so people don't need to slow down nearly as much.
Made it faster.
Right, so they made it faster, right, exactly. So you're not getting any help from the county at this point here in terms of that. I know, like I said, this doesn't impact me at all. If my son would see some kid splattered all over the street should this ever happen. That's not the extent of, you already get door-to-door transportation. But I do think
Is
that,
there any way we can get the county to put up, like, you know how they have the,
Well, you go for
sometimes they have
flashing,
like big,
flashing
they have
lights.
these big signs that say, you know,
you're not gonna get support from the community to have that in their front lawn. Why would you want that? I don't want some big flashing light on my front lawn because people don't know that they
maybe
can
just
do
a
80
sign
miles an hour on a
saying, you know,
40.
slow down the bus
Unfortunately,
stops
this
here
kind of
or
stuff, you
something.
can't have it both ways as well, it's the same
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, I'd rather take my chances being rear-ended while I'm in a bus of, 3 tons of steel and metal and iron as compared to walking.
Well, how many houses are we talking about, how many children?
We don't know, that's why I asked, how many students do we
Because if
impact?
that's the case, if that's the case, if it's that unsafe for a child that gets 3 houses, send a minibus. Let them pull into the driveway for each of those houses.
That's what I'm saying, we need to know how many
I would
students are
rather,
actually
I would rather
impacted.
spend the money on a minibus
That's the
than
question,
have
how many
children be
students
unsafe
live
on the road.
on the road
But
with
you also
close
have to
speed
make
limits?
sure that these parents that we're talking about, we can't speak for other people's kids. It's one thing to speak about an unsafe situation.
He's talking about his own kid right now.
Right, no, but his own
Send him a
child.
minibus.
Doesn't
He
impact
said his
me,
own
I already
child.
have that. I don't, my
He's
student's
speaking
not,
for
my
other
son's not
parents.
impacted by this one so.
You don't know if those other parents would want their
Well,
child
then we
on
need to
this.
contact them and find out.
That's something that you do,
So,
that'd be a good
the
idea.
decision was
to
made
one of those
because,
things.
I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we had multiple year-end accidents on these kind of, in this exact situation. And I,
Right after you spoke, there was a bus of ours that was rear-ended on a red light. It was rear-ended right after you spoke here that evening, so come over here next day.
Did any students die?
No, because I don't think it was.
Because they were on a bus.
It's still,
It's traumatic, don't get me wrong, and I'm saying I'd rather take my chances being hit, that's what vehicles are made to support and sustain those kind of injuries compared to flesh and bone, which is much less resilient to high impact crashes. than you can
I
imagine.
would much rather have it hit the rear end of a bus than a child.
Correct, that's my thought
I agree.
process.
Okay, I have a
But
question.
then you have to
parents
send
will
like,
feel that way.
that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's
You-
what we have to find out.
Well, you were talking about before, I don't know if you can do that, do one of those, where you send out the survey and see what the majority
Or
of
just
parents.
contact those parents.
You don't need to talk to Eric, you can just talk to parents that are on high-speed roads.
There's other roads, I mean, Motor
Why
Parkway
do
can be
everybody?
considered a racetrack.
No, but we don't
Like,
stop
Motor
at Motor
Parkway
Parkway.
is one.
Can I
We
type
don't
in,
have any bus stops on one of them.
can I
saying,
type,
the corners.
that's why-
type in
This is an unusual
we just
situation
got
where
a
there was no
letter
other.
from someone about Terry Road?
Yeah.
yes, that bus stop was changed.
Was that what-
Yes,
yes,
that's what she
that was
said.
pretty frightening to me, just reading this, and I had no clue.
Yeah, that bus stop was changed.
That's the parent
Because
that
there
reached
are
out to
two-
me that I told her to go
It's
through
a
the
different
proper channels.
situation,
Right.
it's only 2 houses from one corner and 6 houses from the other, so they now moved it to the 2, so they're only walking the 2 houses.
Right.
So that one was solved, but yours is not
No,
solved.
I think this is not about me,
I
this
know.
is about all the areas in the district that have a speed limit of greater than 30 miles an hour. And you're talking about a handful of major roads, but I don't know how many students are impacted. It could be 40, it could be 500, I don't know. And that would of course make a change as to what the approach would be.
Right.
But that should be fairly easy to pull, because you can probably get data from the county on which roads in your district are 40 miles or higher, and then how many students live with an address on those roads. I'll see you again next month then.
Yeah, next, in both.
We have 2 weeks again.
2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. John, you already talked to me. Excuse me, sir.
I don't know, like business, I think we could all handle it.
No.
Everything's so exciting.
To piggyback on what he was just talking about, it's not just Motor Parkway, it's not just of Expressway, Locust, Ocean,
Yes,
Sycamore. Everybody drives 50 miles an hour on those roads, and those roads are actually narrower than some of the other roads, and even more kids. So
But he's saying
unfortunately,
if the speed
Oh,
limit.
it must be.
unfortunately in Suffolk, we don't have a lot of sidewalks. Okay, we grew up in Nassau with sidewalks everywhere, so you guys, not a problem. If there are sidewalks, then you can move the bus stop where the kids can safely go to their house. But if they are being dropped off on a side street to walk back onto a main road,
It's the
and when
same.
you're talking about, there's only 3 or 4 kids, you're talking about so many of our kids in our district live on these main roads. Those bus stops have to be on those main roads, otherwise you're just making it worse. And with now the dark,
It's 6
it's
o'clock.
getting darker sooner. Kids in high school have all these things, they're walking in the dark. I mean, it's crazy to think that you would want, like, I agree with you. People will actually stop more from a bus. Kids wear dark now all the time, they don't wear light clothing. I think it's insane to move those bus stops to side streets if it's gonna be worse and make it more dangerous for them to get back onto the main road where they live. Because like I said, there's plenty of roads, there aren't many side roads on some of those streets on Vanderbilt Parkway. I mean, some of them you were walking for half a mile before you can get to the side streets sometimes. I think that's insane. You guys would know about it, but I think those are the things you have to look at. If there's a sidewalk, fine, move it, but I don't think most, at least many sidewalks.
I grew up in Middle Country District, and we had buses that stopped on Middle Country Road,
Yeah, and
and
that's.
both
that's a
sides of the
main-
road
main-
stopped.
Yeah, that's a main drag.
And that's,
We could always call the precinct and have them step up their patrols those days and give out a lot of tickets. They will all
They'll do it, but you
They
gotta
will,
call
I
folks. You
know,
gotta call
they do it
folks,
for us all the
and
time
you
for
gotta
the civic.
make a-
We have someone on Peconic, and we have a lot of complaints, and we have the fourth and fifth precinct down there, then they come down there.
Well,
And
they
you'll
should be
see,
doing
most of the
extra
parents that get
patrol.
pulled over, the ones that were complaining, but they're the ones that get pulled over because they do 40 miles an hour.
and the speeders go up to Easton when they patrol.
I know. I know, they all text each other. I actually saw someone on Peconic around the curve today get pulled over, so that was awesome. That's a
Good,
5 mile an hour curve.
yeah,
Okay,
but
so
they
anybody
take it
else?
at like 30.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, so I'm gonna ask that, we
Motion,
set a motion in second to adjourn this meeting.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.